You know that moment right after lunch? You've just finished eating, you weren't even hungry for dessert, but somehow your hand is already reaching for something sweet? A piece of chocolate, a cookie, a spoon of dessert from the fridge. Yeah, that moment isn't weakness. It isn't a lack of discipline. It isn't emotional eating, the way most people understand it. According to neuroscience research from Princeton University, your brain might literally be firing the same neural circuits that fire in someone addicted to cocaine or nicotine. Not metaphorically, literally. The same dopamine system, the same reward signature, the same compulsive pattern. And it's not just dopamine. Your childhood programming, your blood sugar physiology, even the bacteria living in your gut are working together every single day to keep you reaching for sugar. Once you understand how all of this fits together, the experience of craving stops being a personal failure and starts being a problem with a real, documented solution. In a moment, I'll show you why your relationship with sugar may have been programmed before you were even old enough to read, why a study published in Bioessays revealed that your gut bacteria can manipulate your food cravings through your nervous system, and why the harder you fight your cravings with willpower, the worse they actually get. By the end of this video, you'll understand more about what's actually happening in your brain when you reach for that cookie than 90% of nutritionists do. Quick question before we dive in. When do you feel the strongest sugar craving in your day? After lunch? Late afternoon? Before bed? Tell me in the comments. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not a sugar addict in the personality sense. You are biologically programmed by forces you didn't choose to do exactly what you're doing right now. And understanding those forces one by one is the first step to taking back control. The first force is dopamine. Inside your brain, there's a system called the mesolimbic reward pathway. Its job is to make you repeat behaviors that helped your ancestors survive. When you do something the brain considers important, like eating high-calorie food, it releases dopamine. Dopamine isn't pleasure. It's the chemical that tells your brain, this matters, remember this, do this again. Neuroscience research led by Dr. Nicole Avena at Princeton University documented something remarkable. Sugar activates the exact same dopamine pathways that are activated by cocaine and nicotine. Not metaphorically, literally, the same neural circuits. And here's where it gets worse. The brain doesn't just release dopamine when you eat sugar. It releases dopamine when you anticipate sugar. Just smelling a cookie, walking past a bakery, finishing a meal, and knowing dessert is coming. Now think about a habit almost everyone has. Something sweet right after lunch, a piece of chocolate, a cookie, a spoon of dessert. You've done it so many times that your brain has hardwired the connection. Lunch finishes, sweet comes. After enough repetitions, your brain releases the dopamine spike automatically the moment your lunch ends. The craving isn't a choice, it's a learned reflex. And every time you give in, the wiring gets stronger. The dopamine receptors, over time, lose sensitivity. You need a bigger sugar hit to feel the same reward. This is called dopamine downregulation, and it's exactly what happens with addiction. You're not eating more sugar because you have less willpower. You're eating more sugar because your brain literally requires more to produce the same signal. The second force is something almost nobody talks about: childhood programming. Think back. The cake your grandmother made for your birthday, the cookies your mother baked when you were sad, the candy you got as a reward for behaving well, the ice cream after a bad day at school, the sweets handed to you as a sign of love, of comfort, of belonging. For most people, sugar was never just food. It was a symbol. It was attached, in the brain of a child, to the most powerful emotions humans have: affection, safety, reward, connection. Research by Dr. Leanne Birch has shown that these early associations don't fade with age. They get stored in the limbic system, the emotional core of the brain, and they fire automatically, decades later, when you experience the same emotions as an adult. When you're stressed, your brain doesn't reach for sugar because of weak willpower. It reaches for sugar because, when you were 5 years old, sugar was what comfort tasted like. The neural shortcut between feel bad and eat something sweet was carved into your nervous system before you even knew what a calorie was. This isn't a flaw, this is conditioning. And conditioning, by definition, can be rewritten, but not until you see it clearly. The third force is the most mechanical and the easiest to fix: the glucose crash that disguises itself as cravings. When you eat refined carbohydrates without enough protein or fat, your blood sugar shoots up. Your pancreas overshoots with insulin. About 90 minutes later, your blood sugar crashes below normal. Your brain interprets that crash as an emergency and tells you, eat sugar, now. What you experience consciously is a craving. What's actually happening is a metabolic alarm. You're not weak, you're hypoglycemic, and your brain is doing its job, screaming for the fastest fuel available. Stabilize your blood sugar with protein and fiber at every meal, and the craving signal stops firing. Most people who do this report that within 7 to 10 days, the desperate afternoon sugar urge simply disappears. And there's one more layer. A paper in Bioessays by Dr. Joe Alcock and colleagues proposed that certain bacteria in your gut, specifically those that thrive on sugar, can manipulate your cravings by sending signals through the vagus nerve directly to your brain. When you crave sugar, part of that signal may not even be coming from you. It may be coming from the microorganisms living inside you, demanding their preferred fuel. That's how layered this is. Dopamine, childhood imprinting, blood sugar physiology, even the bacteria in your gut, all conspiring every day to keep you reaching for the next sweet thing. So here's the truth, the one nobody tells you. Your sugar cravings are not a character flaw. They are the output of a system that was built before you had any say in the matter. Once you see the system, you can work with it. You stabilize blood sugar with real meals. You break the post-meal reflex by replacing the dopamine cue with a different ritual, like tea or a short walk. You bring conscious awareness to the moments where you reach for sugar emotionally, and over time, the conditioning weakens. You don't fight your biology, you understand it, and you redirect it. Tell me in the comments, which of these three forces feels most familiar to you? The dopamine reflex, the childhood programming, or the blood sugar crash? I'm genuinely curious because everyone's pattern is slightly different. If this video gave you something nobody else gave you, subscribe to the channel. Every week, I bring you the intersection of psychology, nutrition, and biology, translated honestly. See you in the next one.